Reactor online. Sensors online. Weapons online. All systems nominal.
Hello everyone, today we're taking a look at the new House Kurita Ranger Lance from Catalyst Game Labs. This force pack contains 3 new mechs and a resculpt of one we already have. The resculpt in the force pack is a Panther, and our new mechs in here are the Venom, Chimera, and Avatar. I want to start with the resculpted Panther. This is the second sculpt of the mech since the new plastics first came out, and Catalyst has done a wonderful job and has given us a miniature that looks better than its predecessor, and shows us how much the casting process has been dialed in since the original New Scene minis. As far as cleanup on the mini, it does have a clip point on the bottom of each arm, and there is a mold line running down the center line of the PPC on the Panther's right arm. As for the Alpha Strike card, the first side we are looking at here is the PNT-9R. It's a battle mech size 1 with a TMM of 1 and movement of 8 jump. The 9R is a brawler with a cost of 19 points. It can do 2 damage at short and medium range, 1 at long, and has no overheat value. The 9R has 3 armor and 3 structure with no special abilities. The other side of the card has the 10K2 model of Panther. This model is also a brawler and comes in at 22 points. The baseline stats are the same, with it being a battle mech size 1, TMM of 1, and 8 jump. It has slightly different weapon stats of 3 at short and medium ranges and 1 at long with no overheat value. It has the same armor and structure as the 9R and has specials of Case and SRM-11. The next one we're looking at is the Chimera. The Chimera is one of the mechs I remember from Mech Warrior 4, and this mini of it definitely does it justice. The Chimera is a 2-part miniature, with the missile door being a separate part. The missile door can either be opened or closed, although I have seen in the art where it's just totally deleted, and whatever position you choose, you have to glue it in place. The door is quite tiny and probably pretty easy to lose. I chose to glue it in the open position, and hopefully it doesn't come back to bite me in the ass. As far as the miniature itself, it's done very well with nice, crisp details. There are a couple of minor mold lines, with one under the mech's right arm and some burring on the weapon barrels. There is one that will require a bit more cleanup on the front of the mech's upper left leg above the knee. Other than that, CGL has done a really good job in sculpting the mech. For its Alpha Strike card, we get the CMA 1S and 2K. The 1S is a battle mech size 2 with a TMM of 2 and movement of 12 jump. It can do 3 at short range, 2 at medium, and 1 at long with 1 overheat. The 1S has 4 armor and 2 structure without any specials. It's a brawler that comes in at 26 points. The 2K model is a battle mech size 2 with a TMM of 3 and movement of 14 jump. It's a short range striker that does 3 at short, 2 at medium, and has no long range and 1 overheat. The 2K shares the same armor profile as the 1S with 4 armor and 2 structure, and has specials of C3 Slave, Energy, Melee, Mobile Headquarters 1, and Triple Strength Myanmar. I know Ironwind Metals has a 2K sculpt out already, and for being an older sculpt, it is quite good. So if you do want that, it already does exist, but I would really like to see them do a new one based on the new plastic sculpt. I'm not usually a big fan on the House Kurita units as far as like this mech and most of the pack, to be fair, but this one with Melee and TSM can crank out 4 damage, 5 if attacking from the rear with its sword. I think I did that math right. I might be off by 1. I do apologize if I am. Now, before we hop into the next mech in the Force Pack, I wanted to let you know about Fortress Miniatures and Games.com. Fortress has just about anything you could need for your Battletech games. You can get the force pack we're talking about right now from them today, and they are taking pre-orders for the new starter box, core box, and core rulebook. You'll find a link to fortressminiaturesandgames.com in the description below. Now, let's get back to the Ranger Lance. The next mech we're looking at is the Venom. This was one that we first saw in the pages of Technical Readout 3055 and is essentially a heavier super spider with a slightly heavier chassis and bigger weapons payload. The mini we get for it definitely shows this lineage and inspiration from the original Spider and does an amazing job in updating the Venom for a new era and generation of Battletech players. Of course, those of us who have been around forever also appreciate it. The only thing I would have to say about the sculpt in general that I don't care for too much is the armor plate over the cockpit window that feels very, it feels like a unibrow. I think it would be better if it were a bit less pronounced, and I can definitely see the armor plate over the cockpit being confused for the cockpit window, much like we saw with the Thunderbolt hatch being mistaken for cockpit glass or the panel over the cockpit on the Marauder, which I have personally done myself with the Marauder, but that was for aesthetic reasons. On the technical side of things, I can't see anything that is glaringly obvious as far as clip points or mold lines. I can feel one on the outside of each leg the whole way up. Aside from that, this is a beautifully cast miniature with really good amount of detail in it, especially for a mech of its weight class. The Alpha Strike cards for this mini are the SDR-9K and SDR-9KC. The 9K is a battle mech size 1 with a TMM of 3 and movement of 16 jump. It's a striker that comes in at 25 points. The 9K Venom does 2 damage at short and medium ranges with no long range value and 1 overheat. It has armor and structure of 2 with the energy special ability. The 9KC is a 33-point striker. It's a battle mech size 1 with a TMM of 3 and 16 jump. It also does 2 at short and medium ranges and has no long range damage or overheat value. The 9KC has twice the armor protection of the 9K at 4 and has structure of 2. For specials, it has C3 Slave, Energy, and Mobile Headquarters 1. Between the two of these, I think the 9KC is a bit more terrifying, at least when used in a C3 Lance, because it has the speed and TMM to get into short ranges behind an opponent while feeding target information data to friendly units in its network. The closest competitor to this is this SDR-C Spider, which does the same damage as the Venom and has the same TMM, but has far less armor and is more susceptible to being taken out in one shot. The last one we're looking at is the one that I think is probably the most anticipated out of this force pack, and that would be the Avatar. The first time we saw the Avatar, it was in Technical Readout 3058 alongside of the rest of the Inner Sphere's first generation omnimechs. The Raptor, Owens, Strider, Firestarter, Blackjack, Blackhawk KU, and Sunder. The Avatar was the Draconis Combine's attempt to re-engineer the Vulture into an Inner Sphere omnimech. And in doing so, they did create a good multi-role heavy omnimech, though it was second to the Blackhawk KU and Sunder for the best omnimech out of that generation. The Mini is absolutely covered in details and updates the mech to the new look very well with a lot of detail to it. One of the things that I really like is the legs look very similar to the legs on the Mad Cat and Vulture, but they look a little lower tech than the ones that are on those mechs, giving it that feel of an attempt to copy the original, but not quite getting it. So as far as critiques on the miniature, it does have a bit softer, the details are a bit softer on the rear of the Mini when compared to the front and sides. As far as the technical side, it does have slight mold lines on the inside and outside of the mech's upper legs. There's a light mold line on the inside-facing weapons barrel of the mech's left arm, with it continuing on the lower front of the upper arm. The right arm has a light and short mold line on the lower right arm that is most prominent towards the front, like there's a flat spot underneath the weapons barrel, and it is visible again on the rear of the arm. I think the thing that sticks out most is the clip point on the upper rear of the torso on the mech's right side, just behind the shoulder armor. Also, one thing I noticed when viewed from the top, the rear of the mech seems to be slightly concave, like the middle's a bit forward and the rear armor panels kind of slant inward. And we've seen something like this before on the Warhawk minis, where it was a bit concave on the top of the flat section of the mech. I'm assuming this is a technology limitation that just has not been fully cleared up yet. The Alpha Strike cards are for the AV1-O and OJ configurations of the Avatar. And I will mention one of my favorite variants after those because it is awesome and we need a model of it from Ironwind Metals. The AV1-O is a battle mech size 3 with a TMM of 1 and movement of 8. It's a brawler with a point cost of 37 and does 4 damage at short, 5 at medium, and 3 at long with no overheat. The primary, or O configuration, has armor of 6, structure of 3 with specials of Case, Flak 111, Indirect Fire 1, and Omni. Now, the Avatar is a good all-rounder heavy mech that wants to live at medium range, and brings a couple of toolbox abilities with the Flak and Indirect Fire special abilities. While it does only have 3 structure, the Case special ability means a through armor ammo explosion critical isn't likely to take the mech out in one hit. The other side of the card has the J configuration of the Avatar. Much like the primary, this is a battle mech size 3, TMM 1, movement of 8 inches. It's a sniper, and it costs 38 points. Damage values of 5 at short and medium ranges, 4 at long, and does not have an overheat value. It has 6 armor and 3 structure with specials of Case, Flak 444, and Omni. Now, if you're suspecting that your opponent will be bringing some VTOLs, this is the Avatar you want to have with you, as it makes him far easier to take out. With Flak of 4 at every range, it can put a ton of firepower down on them. You usually don't see Flak 4. I mean, it's really good. The configuration I want to mention that isn't in the box is the B configuration. That has the same baseline stats as far as speed, size, armor, and so on, and has damage values of 3 at short, 5 at medium, and 4 at long with no overheat, but can do 3 indirect fire damage and is 39 points. So it makes a good durable fire support unit. I highly recommend trying it out. Wrapping it all up, the Ranger Lance is pretty awesome, and if you're a fan of House Kurita, it's definitely worth the money. The Force Pack normally retails for $34.99, putting the minis at $8.75 a piece. You can get the Force Pack for $26.24 from Fortress, putting them at a price point of $6.56 per miniature. I feel like that even at normal retail, given the quality of the minis, it is a good Force Pack, and at a discounted price, it's even better. One thing I will say is that this Force Pack and the last one has inspired me to create a House Kurita Force. And maybe, like me, if you're not a House Kurita fan, this Force Pack and the Command Lance can inspire you to build one too. I want to thank everyone who's listened all the way to here. If you want to support the podcast, the channel, then check us out at patreon.com/Unicorn Company, or you can become a channel member. There will be links in the description for the Patreon and for Fortress Miniatures and Games. So until next time, stay safe out there, Mech Warriors. This is Carrie signing off. Thank you to my patrons. At Captain, we have Sarah. Lieutenants, we have Boy in a Box and Nasty Taurus. Sergeants BZ Archer, Steven, Faz, Housemaster Poding, and Country Fried Minis, and our cadets Scott, Jamie, NB Kaiju, Domini, and Brother Carr. I also want to thank my channel members Miss J. Speechly, Anonymous Only Agent, and Greg Swars. And finally, Unicorn Company's sponsor, Fortress Miniatures and Games. Check them out. They're a huge supporter of the community and the best place to get all your Battletech needs taken care of. If you want to support Unicorn Company, you can become a channel member here on YouTube or a patron at patreon.com/Unicorn Company. Links to my sponsors, also Country Fried Minis and Scott's Game Room, will be in the description. Thank you all, and stay safe out there, Mech Warriors. This is Carrie, signing off.